Good evening everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 30th and 31st October together, Sundays and today's newspaper. So first of all, we will discuss the articles from today's newspaper, and some articles are we will discuss combinedly because some developments happened yesterday. There is this editorial today. So combinedly we will discuss those articles also. Now look at the first page, the unfortunate incident that happened. 90 drawn in Gujarat river as suspension bridge collapses. Now this number has increased to around 140 if we are having follow up at present. And why I am saying unfortunate, because such instances are we can say kind of man-made disasters, we will say. And you can see the suspension bridge here. It is a kind of tourist attraction in this district in Gujarat, Morbi town in Gujarat. Okay, and you can see the river over which this bridge was constructed is Machu river. Okay, remember this Machu river. Now there could be question from the mapping perspective. You should know Machu river is in Gujarat and this instance has happened. Although we have to take it objectively, हमें ये input जो है objectively लेना है exam के लिए, but the incident is unfortunate. It is a kind of man-made disaster. Why we are saying that? Because almost 4 days ago this bridge was basically renovated, and whatever the problems in the bridge, they were we can say reworked, and then it was open for tourist attraction. Second thing, it was Sunday, and also it was Chhat Puja celebrations. So many people gathered on the bridge, and that could not hold the weight, and let's say the bridge collapsed. Now the live CCTV footage is also being circulated, which also shows that to some extent the kind of, let's say, to some extent carelessness behavior. You can see the people, or the young people especially, they are dancing, or they are not aware about whether the, let's say, it can break, or some, let's say, something untoward event can happen, and therefore to some extent it is also the reason for breaking of that bridge. All these reasons you should be knowing about, and as it directly fell into the river and people did not have any kind of life jacket, so of course most of the people may not be knowing the swimming, and because of that they died here. Also it was evening time of 6:30 p.m. and therefore after that it was dark. People did not understand what to do. Such kind of panic situation result into large scale loss of life. तो आपको ये भी एग्जाम्पल पता होना चाहिए. There are other instances that are happening around the world. There is this news that in Seoul, capital of South Korea, there the Halloween celebrations resulted into stampede, some kind of stampede resulting into death of many people. Recently in football match in Indonesia, people died because of stampede. Such instances are happening, they are called as man-made disasters. GS3 paper, you have disaster management in your syllabus. From that perspective also you should know this example. Fine. Now moving on to next part. Share of stubble burning in cities pollution rises to 26%. Now we are having follow up here on Delhi air pollution issue, and now there is increase in stubble burning instances in specifically Punjab. Okay, so air pollution authorities, they are continuously having follow up, meteorological officials, and along with that the other officials involved, CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, and along with that the air pollution tracking systems, tracking or calculating air quality index and suffer. They are having continuous follow up. IIT Delhi and other institutions, they have also devised, you can see here, system of air quality and weather forecasting research. It is also continuously monitoring the situation, and now it has increased. This is what, and the contribution of stubble burning has increased to 26%. Those living in Delhi, now you may be witnessing there is increase in the pollution levels throughout Delhi and NCR region, and now this is going to increase in near future, we can say near next 1 week. Okay, so this is the reason, and along with that you should know the meteorological or climatic factors combined. So what are these factors? First you should know that slow wind speed. Slow wind speed is there near Delhi NCR region, and whatever the wind that is coming from Punjab and Haryana, that is bringing all the pollutants towards Delhi and NCR region, and this slow wind speed is not dispersing the existing pollutants. So these pollutants being heavier ones, they are remaining there near the ground, resulting into dense smog. We can expect this dense smog to remain in next 1 week now. Okay, so yes, all these factors, and along with that dust due to construction activity. You can see that all around Delhi construction activities are going on, so that is also resulting into dust PM10 increase in the particulate matter PM10 levels is also observed. Fine. Now we were talking about this, and there is this news in Sunday's newspaper also talking about GRAP, Graded Response Action Plan. ठीक है, जो हम इसी की बात कर रहे हैं, Graded Response Action Plan. So already we had covered about Graded Response Action Plan, but briefly I will tell you revised Graded Action Plan, because we are expecting question on this. Who has given this revised GRAP? Commission for Air Quality Management in National Capital Region and adjoining areas. This is now newly set up statutory body. Statutory body means through law of parliament, through enactment of law of parliament in 2021, this body was set up. It is having some wider jurisdiction and more powers as compared to earlier Environment Protection Authority, EPA. Okay, so EPCA. So now it has revised this thing, and some salient features of this revised GRAP. For example, GRAP for NCR has now been classified under 4 different stages of adverse air quality. Which are these? Stage 1 will be called as poor with AQI between 201 to 300. Then stage 2 very poor, AQI 301 to 400. Stage 3 is severe, 401 to 450, and severe plus, very severe nahi, severe plus, AQI more than 450 respectively. One more change, important change is that actions under stages 2, 3 and 4 of GRAP shall be invoked at least 3 days in advance of AQI reaching to the projected levels of that stage. That's why now there is chances that the air quality will degrade in 2-3 days. That's why the next stage is being invoked. इसलिए ये न्यूज में है, ठीक है, 2-3 दिन पहले ही. मतलब आप एयर क्वालिटी पुअर होने का वेट नहीं करेंगे, राइट? सो द गवर्नमेंट विल हैव इंटरवेंशन earlier so that the air quality is not affected that much. Then restrictive actions undertaken as per previous stages shall continue in addition to air pollution stage under which restrictive actions are envisaged to be taken. That means suppose stage 3 is invoked, so stage 1 and 2 will be also in place. Okay, so whatever the activities that are banned or restricted, they will also be in place along with new stage. Okay, along with that, the subcommittee constituted on GRAP by the commission shall frequently meet and plan for advance action. Also, it will review the action taken by designated authorities under these stages, and the different state governments. Chief secretaries will also review actions and implementations of GRAP. Okay, so and the commission may decide some additional measures in addition to these 4 stages. Okay, now this is the exact PDF that is downloaded from the website of this authority. Okay, website. So instead of referring to any class notes or something like that, you can directly download this PDF where all this table wise it is mentioned. Stage 1 poor quality, Delhi AQI ranging between 200 and you can see here actions to be taken and agencies responsible for implementation of those actions. Okay. So all these are mentioned here. You need not to go through all these, but in general you should know that as we are moving from stage 1 to stage 4, there is severity of actions. Strict actions are being taken as the air pollution is continuously increasing. Fine. Okay, this is GRAP. Now, coming back to newspaper. Okay. Fine, you can see that Punjab government suspends 4 officials over stubble issue. So, as its share has increased, so the government also needs to take some stringent actions. So, in those blocks where the stubble burning instances are there or more, so those officials have been suspended. Okay, so this action is needed so that the officials also take it seriously. Fine. Now, yes, we are celebrating National Unity Day, 31st October, birth anniversary of first Home Minister of independent India. Okay, we call him Iron Man, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Okay. Yes. Now, moving on. Okay, so we have already discussed the Kerala governor issue in detail. Repeated articles, repeated same things are being discussed, so we will not go through that. Rather, look at this article, editorial, which talks about India's decision to host UN Security Council's Counter-Terrorism Committee. Recently, 2 days meeting happened. One day, first day it was in Mumbai, second day it was in Delhi. And the outcome is Delhi declaration of this committee. Okay, Delhi declaration. So we will briefly try to know about this committee from prelims perspective, because from mains perspective we all know that the problems related to terrorism, okay, and the international cooperation. So recently we discussed that China had blocked one resolution at United Nations initiated by India and US designating particular terrorist as terrorist under UNSC. Okay, UNSC resolution. So all these things are mentioned here, how it becomes difficult for all these countries to come together and cooperate on the issue of terrorism, and why it is always important for India to consistently work, or we can say that nudge these countries to designate all these terrorist and terrorist organization under UNSC resolution and ban them. Okay, so a very important one in terms of GS2 paper, IR section, GS3 paper, internal security. Now, from prelims perspective, we can expect question here on this Counter-Terrorism Committee. Counter-Terrorism Committee. Okay, this committee was established under UNSC after 9/11 attacks. 9/11, so yes, 11 September, World Trade Center, we all know the incident. After that, immediately this resolution was passed by UNSC in 2001, which led to establishment of dedicated counter-terrorism committee under UNSC. Remember this. Now, the committee is tasked with monitoring implementation of this resolution 1373, which requested countries to implement number of measures intended to enhance their legal, institutional ability to counter terrorist activities at home, in their regions and around the world. Okay, now I will talk about that how it works, but before that it is composed of 15 member states. Which are these? Basically they are UNSC members, United Nations Security Council members. Now UNSC is made up of 15 members. Among those 15, 5 are permanent members, 10 are non-permanent. Okay, so that's why I am writing here P5, permanent 5. Which are these? Yes, US, China, Russia, France and UK. Now 10 non-permanent members are elected for tenure of 2 years. Like at present India is also member. And India has this two year tenure from January 2021 to December 2022. This is going to end this year now. Okay, this is the tenure India was elected. So all these 15 members are members of this committee, decision makers. Okay, now this CTC is also assisted by executive director. Okay, counter-terrorism executive director, which carries out policy decision and conduct expert assessment of all 193 United Nations member states. Basically there are continuous visits by this committee to different members of UN, member states of UN. Okay, conducted on the committee's behalf and is primary tool used by this committee to effectively fulfill its mandate. तो वो हर एक कंट्री को विजिट करते हैं, they evaluate the legal and institutional setup to curb the terrorist activities in that country and around the world, and they report back to UNSC. Okay, or simply their own committee. Now the present chair of the counter-terrorism committee is Miss Ruchira Kamboj, permanent representative of India to the United Nations. She was appointed this year only. Okay, so the representative from India is the present chair of this committee. So this can be also asked in the prelims examination. Fine? Okay. Now coming back to newspaper. On Sunday's newspaper also these developments are there. Okay, on Sunday's newspaper also these developments are there. I will come back to those developments. Now all other articles, they are not that much relevant. This is also political in nature. Okay, why was the Miya museum sealed? This is not that much relevant, but let me tell you that this Miya museum is there in Assam. Okay, and basically it is the museum showcasing the culture of Bengali speaking or Bengal origin Muslims in Assam. It is the museum showcasing culture of Bengali speaking or Bengal origin Muslims in Assam, and this was recently sealed. Why? Because the house which was used for establishing or setting up this museum was allocated under Prime Minister Awas Yojana Gramin scheme. So that should be used for residential purpose, no? And that is used for this museum. So this is the controversy. That's all. हमारे लिए इतना ही important है अभी. हाँ, indirectly we can say it is not legal. Okay, but if suppose Miya museum it is asked in the examination, you should know Bengali speaking community or Muslims living in Assam. ठीक है? Now, are there anti-superstition laws in India? Now, why it is in news? We all know the inhuman act that happened in Kerala, human sacrifice. This was a chilling incident. We all know that. Okay, and that made news throughout India, around the world also. And this is not good for any progressive society. First of all, it can be asked in the ethics paper, GS4. Why? Because we all know which values are at stake here. Scientific temper.
Human values degraded.
Yes. Scientific temper, rational thinking, rationality or rational thinking, and along with that, human values of love, compassion, empathy. All these are lost here. Okay, human behaved like animal, beyond animal we can say. Okay, so this is not good practice. Of course, witchcraft and human sacrifice, although it is prevalent in some corners of the country, we will consider it as a backward society. This is not good for India's image at world stage. Okay, now are there any anti-superstition laws in India? At national level, there is no such law, one single law.
Sir, but under the Human Violation Act, it can able to take the action.
See, IPC provisions may be there, but specifically talking about anti-superstition or witchcraft, there is no single law, one single law throughout territory. Rather, each and every individual states, you can see here, in India there is no central law exclusively dealing with crimes related to witchcraft, superstition and all these activities. Rather, states like Bihar, then Jharkhand, and then you can see other states like Maharashtra, recent one is Rajasthan and Karnataka. So you can see here Karnataka may be hai, Assam may be hai. So generally those states where this black magic, superstition is very common and that needs to be dealt stringently. Okay, so there you can see that independently state laws are there. In Maharashtra, if you see, this law was enacted after the death or murder of anti-superstition activist Narendra Dabholkar. Okay, so Narendra Dabholkar was very active in eliminating all these superstitions in Maharashtra, and he was killed. He was killed, and after that, this you can see Human Sacrifice and Other Inhuman Practices Black Magic Act 2013 was passed by the Maharashtra government. So you should know that at national level there is no one single law. At state level, different states are having independent laws. But ethics से question आ सकता है हमें वहाँ पर. Okay. Fine. Okay, Election Commission's 2-day international conference begins today. So EC will host a 2-day international conference on role, framework and capacity of election management bodies in national capital starting on Monday. यानी कि दिल्ली में ये होने वाला है, and the election bodies of different countries are invited there. Okay, it's kind of conference, and they share best practices, they deliberate on the challenges they face in holding the free and fair elections, right? Okay. Right, so the landslip in Ratle Hydel project in Dhrapshala. Okay, so on Sunday's newspaper also this news is there. Ratle Hydel project, there was landslide there. Now, for prelims examination, some basic information about Ratle Hydel project. Okay, it is runoff river project. What is runoff river project? There are two types of hydroelectricity production. One is holding the water by building the dam across the river and then using that potential energy to produce electricity. And second is without holding that water, using the natural speed of the water in the river. This will be called as runoff river. यहाँ पे कोई भी बड़ा dam नहीं बांधना है. Okay, so these are the Ratle Dam is of river project, where it is across Chenab river and where in Kishtwar district of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay. Now, there will be 133-meter tall gravity dam and 2 power station. Together they will produce 850 megawatt electricity. Although Pakistan alleged that it violates Indus Water Treaty of 1960, but in 2017 World Bank has given green signal to construct this dam or project, we can say. Okay, so India has started constructing this, and that there itself one tunnel was being constructed that resulted into landslide there. Okay, now other hydel projects in across Chenab river होना चाहिए था यहाँ पे, across Chenab river in Jammu Kashmir. That this could be asked in the examination. This is very famous Salal dam, Salal hydroelectricity project. Then Dulhasti is there, then Kiru is there, there is Pakaldul river Marusadur, Pakaldul hydroelectricity project on river Marusudar. Marusudar is basically right bank tributary of Chenab river. These three are exactly on Chenab river. And Pakaldul is also many times in news because Pakistan has again raised the concerns here on Pakaldul project also. Okay? Okay, so this much is sufficient. Now coming back, yes, OneWeb satellites will enhance rural connectivity. Recently, ISRO had launched 36 OneWeb satellites into orbit. If you remember, we had covered this in our Hindu analysis. Okay. So, and this is very important that Prime Minister has also highlighted the importance. Why? Because private sector participation in space industry is being promoted. If you remember, after COVID-19 pandemic, there were many such reforms undertaken in Atmanirbhar package in space sector. InSpace was launched, and this provides or facilitates the private sector participation in space sector. Okay, so private sector satellites are being launched now by ISRO, and this will help in various sectors of economy. Like for example, these OneWeb satellites will improve the digital connectivity across the country, especially rural India. Okay, so there could be question in mains examination talking about significance or applications of space technology for economic growth and development, or a particular sector like agriculture sector or navigation, disaster management. All these things are applications. So you should know the applications of space sector like this. Now, dolphins return to Ganga in Uttar Pradesh. Which dolphins we are talking here? Gangetic dolphins. So the UP government has said that implementation of Namami Gange program has improved the water quality in Ganga and its tributaries, and therefore now the number of gangetic dolphins also increased. The present population of dolphin in Ganga in the Uttar Pradesh only is estimated as 600. Now for prelims examination, some basic information about gangetic dolphin. Look at this. It looks like this, the photograph. Now the scientific name, yes, Platanista gangetica, but local name is Susu. You should know that these are riverine dolphins, and the 4 major riverine dolphins on 4 major rivers and their local names. There could be matched the following type of question here: Susu, Gangetic or Ganga river. Then there is Bhulan dolphin in Indus river and its tributaries, Boto in Amazon river, and Baiji in Yangtze River in China. Baiji in Yangtze River. You can see that except Susu in India, all other starts with B. One can understand Bhulan is Hindi language in the Pakistan. Likewise. Then Boto, Amazon, and Baiji. Baiji one can relate to Chinese language, the word. Okay, like in that manner we can remember. Now, Gangetic dolphins are generally blind dolphins and they have developed or evolved a unique technique to catch their prey. How? They emit ultrasonic sound which reaches the prey, it reflects back and they receive that and they catch prey according to that, calculating distance. Now, threats: direct killing, habitat fragmentation by dams and barrages, and indiscriminate fishing and pollution. These are the threats.
One more thing, sir. Present Navy experiments and ultrasonic waves, it is going to be creating the.
Where? In rivers or marine you are talking? No, it's river and dolphin. That is different. Marine is different, right? Now, one more important thing is that it is declared as National Aquatic Animal of India. National Aquatic Animal of India. Okay, now conservation status is important from our exam perspective. You should know IUCN, then CITES, and then Wildlife Protection Act schedule number. So, Schedule 1 of Wildlife Protection Act, then IUCN, International Union for Conservation Nature, IUCN Red Data Book, the status is endangered, and CITES Appendix 1 of CITES, Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. Okay, so very important this one. Fine. Many times it comes in news, especially in the Hindu newspaper, Gangetic dolphin, and many times we revise the same information because you should remember for your prelims examination. Fine. Coming back to newspaper. Okay, money wise is fine. Now, on world page you can see that South Korea in shock as 153 dead in Halloween crowd surge. These are the examples of stampedes that are happening around the world. जैसे ये man-made disaster में हम calculate करेंगे. Okay, stampedes and we can say lack of appropriate management at such public events that happen, sports events that happen, वहाँ पे ये problem आ रहा है. Okay, so it's not only the developing countries like India and Indonesia, developed country like South Korea, there also instances are happening. Okay, now, fine. So the sports page and all, one can skip that as important news are not there. Now, coming to the next newspaper. Yesterday's newspaper will cover some important news. Look at the front page. Very important news. Kalanamak rice is now small and strong. This could be asked in the prelims examination now. Kalanamak variety. This is the traditional variety of rice, paddy that is grown in UP in Tarai belt. Okay, so Kalanamak is the traditional variety of paddy with black husk and strong fragrance. You can see in the photograph, black husk is there. Now, traditionally it is tall variety, and because of weight of this rice husk during the harvest, it buckles down and falls down. This particular phenomenon is basically created the problem. उसको एक typical नाम है वो phenomenon का lodging. Remember this lodging phenomenon. Okay, so this particular variety of rice is considered as a gift from Lord Buddha to the people of Shravasti when he visited the region after enlightenment. Now, this is grown in 11 districts of Tarai region of northeastern Uttar Pradesh and in Nepal. The traditional variety has been prone to lodging, a reason for its low yield. Lodging is the condition in which top of the plant becomes heavy because of grain formation and the stem becomes weak and the plant falls on the ground. This is the phenomenon of lodging, and because of that overall yield reduces. That's why more and more farmers are not resorting to this particular traditional crop variety. Now the researchers in Indian Agriculture Research Institute has successfully developed two dwarf varieties. ये tall है ना, इसको dwarf कर दिया इन्होंने. Dwarf varieties of Kalanamak rice, and they have been named as Pusa Narendra Kalanamak 1638 and Pusa Narendra Kalanamak 1652 after the association with Acharya Narendra Dev University of Agriculture in Ayodhya. Now the yield of new varieties is double that of traditional variety. This is good thing, no? This is good thing. Along with that, this traditional Kalanamak rice is protected under GI tag. It is very unique because of fragrance. It is having unique fragrance, smell. Along with that, it is also said that it is having nutritional value, high nutritional value in terms of iron and zinc content. Iron and zinc content. This news is continued on page number 7. There these things are written. Along with that, it is also having anti-diabetic characteristics. It is said that. ठीक है, तो ये सारी चीजें आपको पता होनी चाहिए. Development. Suppose there is question Kalanamak, sometime recently seen in news is variety of. We'll see the MCQs also on this particular news. Now, moving on. Yes, I was talking about this ban on construction as air quality falls to severe category. So basically, stage 2 of GRAP, you can see here, immediately implement curbs under stage 3 of graded response plan. As we have entered, going to enter into severe category, no? Severe plus was 4th stage. Severe is 400 to 450 AQI, and more than 450 AQI, severe plus. So stage 3 of graded response action plan, like ban on construction and demolition activities except certain important like railways, metros, airports and hospitals. Introduction of differential rate in public transport to encourage travel during non-peak hours. For example, evening peak hours, public transport will charge higher as compared to afternoon hours. This is differential rate. Closing of brick kilns and hot mix plants not operating on approved fuel in NCR. Shut mining and associated activities in NCR. State governments may impose restriction on BS3 petrol and BS4 diesel four-wheelers. These are the provisions. Some of the provisions we can say. Fine. Now, okay, now moving on. Look at this news. Curcumin. Okay, curcumin is a kind of compound. Curcumin compound protects cattle from diseases. One study by the researchers has suggested that the natural phytochemical compound has ability of reducing the diseases like mastitis disease among the cattle. Okay, so this is good development in terms of, we can say, animal husbandry and dairy sector, because it is part of both agriculture GS3 paper and prelims examination also. Animal husbandry, and there is no vaccination at present available for mastitis. This is the major disease that cattle in India face. Okay, so, and this is actually the natural compound, naturally found compound curcumin. तो यहाँ पे chemicals involved नहीं है. At present, lot of antibiotics are given to cattle to manage these diseases. But there is major concern that use of antibiotic may result into antibiotic resistance in the subsequent food chain, including human, because we human are, let's say, basically consuming the milk even the meat or beef is being eaten in different parts of the country or outside India. So that may result into AMR, antimicrobial resistance. Okay, so natural alternate is made available here for this. Fine. So this, remember the name of the compound, curcumin. Now, yes, I was talking about this UNSC Counter-Terrorism Committee special meeting happened here. 2-day meeting happened. One day, first day it was in Mumbai, second day it was in Delhi, and this Delhi declaration was released, which focused on threat from unmanned air vehicles including drones, online radicalization and recruitment, as well as terrorist financing through cryptocurrencies and other virtual means. Delhi declaration. Basically, the representatives of all these 15 members of this committee, they deliberated on terrorist activities happening due to or being promoted due to technology use. That's why our external affairs minister has also said here, you can see, the new and emerging technologies had enhanced capabilities of terror groups, particularly in open and liberal societies like India. Internet and social media platforms have turned into potent instruments in the toolkit of terrorist and militant groups for spreading propaganda, radicalization and conspiracy theories aimed at destabilizing societies. Use this statement as it is in your answer in GS3 paper internal security part. Because cyber security and radicalization, already UPSC has asked question on radicalization. Now, how this social media platforms and technology is being used by terror group for spreading the hatred, communal violence, communal divide and resulting into, we can say, recruitment of youth in the terrorist groups on social media platform. There is some kind of propaganda or brainwashing is being done by these terrorist groups. Okay, and there is increasing use of unmanned air vehicles, drones. Okay, we know that cross-border smuggling of smuggling of drugs or arms is being done with the help of these drones now. Okay, so that was discussed there. Along with that, what India has emphasized in this meeting, you can see here it is mentioned. India has said that terror activities are up in Jammu and Kashmir since 2021, India tells UN panel. Very good data we can utilize here in our answer when we talk about GS2 paper IR section and GS3 paper internal security part. When Pakistan was under FATF grey list, you can see the data is mentioned. According to presentation made before the committee, there were 600 terror camps across Jammu and Kashmir in mid 2018, which came down to 150 in middle of 2021. But from 2021 to 2022, the number has increased to 225. So basically, now Pakistan is taken off the grey list by FATF last week itself. We had the follow up on this news. Now there is this concern that there will be more terror financing and we can say that these countries will act as a safe haven for terrorist groups. तो इंडिया ने ये एम्फेसिस किया हुआ है यहाँ पर, ठीक है, fine. Okay, so we are talking about this Ratle power project across Chenab river in Kishtwar district. Already we have covered this news. Fine. Yes, Kinnaur youth seek affidavit from election candidate against hydroelectricity project. Okay, so there are almost every year instances of landslides and flash floods in Himachal Pradesh. Flash floods and landslides. almost every year. Now this is happening because of rampant construction activities along the slopes, especially because of hydro projects in Himachal. Okay, so hydro projects result into lot of construction activities, changes in the we can say river ecology and the rock structure in the surrounding region, slope aspects, they are being disturbed, and because of that what happens is the local community suffers in terms of life as well as livelihood. Therefore now as Himachal Pradesh goes to election, state assembly election, the youth are demanding affidavit from the candidates that there will be no new hydroelectricity plant in that district. This is good thing, no? Because we write in our answers that there should not be hydroelectricity plants in the Himalayan states, especially western Himalayan states. So youth are basically coming forward and demanding this. There is this campaign, no means no, by the youth.
But for energy security purpose, we need to go for
No.
green energy.
Yes, you can go for other sources of energy, जैसे small electricity, small hydel plants should be there. Run-off river projects or small hydel projects. Decentralized energy production should be there.
Splitting of
हाँ, large dam building is harmful in that region, problematic in that region. तो ये आपको बताना है यहाँ पर. Okay, fine. Okay, so rise in demand for India trained nurses after pandemic. Just data is mentioned here. India ranks second after Philippines in number of nurses working overseas as they pursue better employment opportunities, higher salaries and other benefits. Nurses from India. Okay. Okay, there is this cyclone in Philippines. वहाँ पे typhoons बोलेंगे हम. South China Sea and Western Pacific Sea cyclonic storm Nalgae, NALGAE. ये नाम आप note down कर सकते हैं. Fine. Citing attack against ships, Russia moves to suspend grain export. Recently, we had seen that the international organizations brokered one deal between Ukraine and Russia that the ships carrying grains will not be attacked. And because of that, the grains from Ukraine could be exported and the food security issue was dealt successfully. But that agreement now came to end, and basically recently the Russia said that we will not renew it. Why? Because they are claiming that Ukraine has attacked those ships. Yes. तो ये follow up रख रहे हैं हम. We are talking about this Halloween crowd. 120 people died. Now science page. Look at this news. Banana highly nutritious food. See on this page, the writer in the Hindu newspaper, this particular writer, what he writes is, he is generally writing all nutrition related news, disease related news, Ayush related news, traditional medicine. He is writing other important science and technology related developments. Very, very important news article on Sunday's newspaper, this bottom one, science and tech page. He is writing in a general layman language. Okay, so you can see here that we know banana is equated to Lord Brihaspati or Jupiter for fertility and bounty. That's why bananas are considered sacred. In almost every festival in South India, bananas are offered to the god in the worship. They are eaten, different products are there of banana, different varieties of banana are grown. India produces 29 million ton of banana every year, and next is China. So India is the largest producer. Okay, and banana plants basically are grown in warm and wet conditions. That's why only southern states and some of the eastern states they grow banana. नदर्न स्टेट्स वहां पे कोल्ड क्लाइमेट जनरली होता है, तो वहां पे बनाना नहीं है. यू शुड नो दैट बनाना इज अ प्लांटेशन क्रॉप, प्लांटेशन कमर्शियल क्रॉप है ना. इट्स अ प्लांटेशन कमर्शियल क्रॉप. It is said that banana is having more nutrition as compared to other, which let's say other fruits we can say, which are costly like mango, oranges, and which are also seasonal. Rather, banana is present throughout the year. It is available throughout the year, and it is also available in rural India. Okay, so it is having, so bananas have 10 to 20 milligram of calcium, 36 mg of sodium, 34 mg of magnesium, 30 to 50 mg of phosphorus per 100 gram of edible material. Okay, so it makes it nutritious. Now along with that, it is also cheapest fruit. Yes, although it is not cheap in Delhi, है ना, दिल्ली में तो बहुत ही महंगा है, right? But yes, but one should understand that its peel also is of use. From the peel of banana, biochar is prepared. Okay, biochar, this was asked in prelims examination. It is a kind of carbon material. Okay, biochar, which is used both as fertilizer and to generate electricity. It is a kind of fuel also as a fertilizer. Biochar. So banana peel, biochar. And we all know that banana plant leaves are used as a plate for eating lunch and dinner in southern states. है ना? Naturally used as a plate, we can say. Okay. Now, fine. So one important article from mains perspective we will discuss here, doctrine of pleasure. Although this governor issue we have discussed, and doctrine of pleasure also we have discussed, it will be a small revision for you. This is important from GS2 paper, polity part, mains examination, and as well as prelims examination. Polity. Why it is in news? Because Kerala governor recently gave the public statement that certain vice chancellors should resign. There is one directive also given by the office of governor of Kerala that certain vice chancellors in some of the universities are not appointed according to the UGC rules, and therefore they should resign. Why? Because recently Supreme Court gave one verdict. In that verdict, the Supreme Court had declared the appointment of one particular vice chancellor as null and void on the basis of this criteria. What was the criteria? That a particular person was not appointed according to rules of UGC. Now the governor has used this particular judgment to give that directive, saying that Supreme Court has given that directive. ऐसा उन्होंने बोल के उसको वो डायरेक्टिव दे दिया है. Now there was one public statement saying by the minister, saying that a particular governor has known only universities of particular state and not Kerala or other state. Now governor of Kerala got offended. उनको गुस्सा आ गया, and he said that I am taking back the pleasure. We all know that Article 164, look at this, Article 164 says that Chief Minister is appointed by the governor and the other ministers are appointed by the governor on CM's advice. It adds that ministers hold the office during the pleasure of the governor. Now governor declared here in this case that I am taking back that pleasure and asked the CM to remove that particular minister. Now here comes the important aspect. The Chief Minister of Kerala had replied that this is not the constitutional obligation, and the particular minister has not broken this principle of or doctrine of pleasure. Now, what is this doctrine of pleasure at first instance? First, we should understand this. This doctrine of pleasure basically finds origin in pleasure. You can see here English common law. कहाँ से आया है ये? Pleasure doctrine is concept derived from English common law, under which the crown can dispense with services of anyone in its employ at any time. Okay, so in the name of crown, basically all appointments are done in the name of crown. In the same manner, in India, certain, let's say, authorities, like for example civil servants, they are appointed in the name of president, and state employees in the name of governor. However, this doctrine of pleasure, although it is applied there, but it does not mean that president and governor are having discretionary power to remove them anytime. Rather, these offices have more, we can say that, security provided. For example, Article 310 Constitution says every person in the defense and civil service of Union hold office during pleasure of president. But immediately Article 311 imposes restriction on removal of civil servants. Very stringent provisions.
They have the protections.
Protection. So that means this, we can say, whatever the pleasure doctrine is there, it is just nominal for that authority. Appointing authority, simply we can say, because in parliamentary form of government, the head of the state here, or sorry, head of the state, yes, head of the state is nominal one. Rather, the true power is wielded by the head of government. Simply we can say Council of Minister headed by Prime Minister or Chief Minister. Right? So, simply you can see here what Supreme Court has said in the past. Yes, in the case challenging appointment of Dr. M.S. Rajashree, Vice Chancellor of APJ Abdul Kalam Technological University, held that her appointment was contrary to UGC regulation. Just now I had said this. This was the basis that governor was had given this directive. Under UGC regulation, a panel of 3 to 5 names should be recommended so that Chancellor has number of options to choose from. Basically, Chancellor is governor. Chancellor of state university is governor. This has been the traditional practice, and vice chancellors are appointed by the governor. But according to UGC rules, regulations, there should be a pool of 3 to 5 names. But in Kerala, only one name was suggested in a particular instance. And the appointment authority or the choosing authority included chief secretary instead of other members from that field, experts from that field, educational field. This was the reason that governor had asked them to resign. Understood? This is the controversy. But from polity perspective, you should know this doctrine of pleasure, which is not applied here for governor or president. Whatever the constitutional provision is there, doctrine at the pleasure of president or at the pleasure of governor, that means that pleasure is enjoyed by CM and PM. On their advice, basically, these ministers are appointed. Second thing, this pleasure is enjoyed till the majority is enjoyed by that council of ministers in that house. Once the majority is lost, then we can say that the governor or president can ask them to resign. And even the governor or president can dismiss if the majority is not proved. Understood? So this is a very important concept. Now, talking about this thing, is the world's climate action plan on track? Now you should know November month will be full of environment related articles. Like last year we discussed Glasgow summit. Now COP27 will happen where? In Sharm el Sheikh, Egyptian city. Okay. from we can say date 6 to 18th November. This will be 17th round of conference parties. Okay, so again it will be news, climate change and everything. You should have follow up here. Now in first part it is talking what have been key takeaways from the past COPs. The important COPs, first one it was COP1 in Berlin 1995. COP or UNFCCC has 198 members at present. UNFCCC is one of the three sister conferences or we can say that conventions, outcome of Earth Summit 1992, Rio Summit or Earth Summit 92. Other two conventions were UNCBD and UNCCD, United Nations Convention on Biodiversity, and second is United Nations Convention on Combating Desertification, UNCCD, and third is UNFCCC. This completely deals with climate change. Okay, so the first important COP is basically COP3 1997, where Kyoto Protocol was signed, agreed. Then COP21 Paris Agreement. Then COP26 लास्ट ईयर ग्लासगो समिट, जहाँ पे हमने कोल को फेज डाउन करने की बात की है, कोल पावर को. इट्स इंपॉर्टेंट वन, फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम दिस वाज मेंशन. नाउ व्हाट्स ऑन एजेंडा एट अपकमिंग समिट. तो एजेंडा पे क्या होता है, चार चीजें ऑलवेज एजेंडा पे होती है. कौन सी? 4 प्रायोरिटी एरियाज, रिमेंबर दिस: मिटिगेशन, एडॉप्टेशन, फाइनेंस एंड कोलैबोरेशन. ओके, मिटिगेशन, एडॉप्टेशन, फाइनेंस एंड कोलैबोरेशन. आंसर में भी यही लिखना है. ओके, फाइन. हाउ हैज द वर्ल्ड बीन डूइंग इन द क्लाइमेट चेंज सिंस ग्लासगो समिट लास्ट ईयर? Okay, so UN has recently released one report saying that efforts remain insufficient to limit global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius as per Paris Agreement. So of course ये हमें लिखना है कि UN report is there and then IPCC report is there, assessment report, both says that we need to fast track efforts. So that means the countries who took the pledge, provided INDCs, now they need to implement it. Planning stage is over, now implementation stage is result orientation, outcome orientation. Okay, all these things are mentioned. Now this article has mention of one particular organization which was asked in this year's prelims examination. So this is how you should be reading: climate action tracker, climate action. Okay, one student is mentioning, sir, but discretionary powers of both are not exactly mentioned, and at what extent they can use such powers, it's subject to court approval. We are slowly moving from words, Paris Agreement in action in this hope COP Egypt can. Yes, of course, yes. Now we are moving from planning to execution aspect. Talking about the discretionary powers, yes, governor has more discretionary powers as compared to president, but one should also understand that the governor cannot invoke this doctrine of pleasure by himself. It's not part of discretionary powers.
Only he will go to interpretation, he will not find.
Yes, this is wrong interpretation of literal words there, that at the pleasure of governor. This is not intended by the framers of the constitution. Okay, so I hope your doubt is clear now. Climate action tracker, first of all we'll see that MCQ. क्या MCQ था वो? Look at this MCQ. Climate action tracker which monitors the emission reduction pledges of different countries is. This was the question, and what should be the answer here? क्या आंसर था यहाँ पे? Yes, so it is a database created by coalition of research organizations. Research organizations, basically it is the joint, the research organizations, two research organizations combinedly track these developments. So we will try to know more information about climate action tracker, because next time there could be different question on the same topic. ठीक है, तो क्लाइमेट एक्शन ट्रैकर क्या है? इंडिपेंडेंट साइंटिफिक एनालिसिस दैट ट्रैक्स गवर्नमेंट क्लाइमेट एक्शन एंड मेजर इट अगेंस्ट द ग्लोबली एग्रीड पेरिस एग्रीमेंट एम ऑफ होल्डिंग वार्मिंग वेल बिलो 2 डिग्री सेल्सियस, परस्यूइंग एफर्ट्स टू लिमिट। पेरिस एग्रीमेंट के गोल को अचीव करने के लिए क्या क्या चीजें हो रही है? Okay, so these things are mentioned. A collaboration, it is the collaboration of two organizations, basically non-profit organizations. Which two non-profit organizations? Climate Analytics and New Climate Institute. Joint collaboration. Okay, now Climate Analytics is non-profit climate science and policy institute based in Berlin, Germany. And New Climate Institute is non-profit, instituted in 2014. Basically both work towards evaluation of each and individual government's efforts in climate change, towards climate change, to achieve this objective of Paris Agreement. Okay, now this climate action tracker quantifies and evaluates climate change mitigation target, policies and action. Then it covers all biggest emitters and represent a sample of smaller emitters covering about 85% of global emissions, approximately 70% of global population. We can say that it gives almost true data, true picture about how we are moving towards achieving this Paris Agreement targets. Right? Okay, fine. Coming back to newspaper. All right, this is done now. Any other important article? Fine. So this is sports, not much important. Coming back to the PPT, some mains related questions. सारा हो गया है? Ratle Dam, Gangatic. Okay, fine. Yes. So mains related question on that governor issue. Yes. What is doctrine of pleasure? Question mark. Explain in the light of recent controversy between Kerala governor and Kerala state government regarding appointment of vice chancellors of the universities.
So in this question we need to write what is the powers, what is the significance of his position holdings.
First of all, you explain the doctrine of pleasure, meaning, and thereafter you mention about how governor being the chancellor of universities appoint vice chancellors, and then go on explaining this controversy. Okay, and you mention there that how the governor has wrongly interpreted the doctrine of pleasure here. Fine, this should be the answer. Critically discuss the role of governor in Indian polity. Critically discuss means basically you should give more importance in terms of how the issues are emerging between the negative issues, we can say problems in the role of governors. You can give example of southern states, like you can give example of Tamil Nadu governor and that NEET issue, NEET bill issue. Kerala you can give, West Bengal, these examples. Then you can give example of Delhi also, Maharashtra also, so many examples you can mention, and with different context, role of governor. Okay, so this could be asked in different manner in the examination, but the core remains same. Now what should we answer here? This particular news we skipped somehow. I wanted to mention that. I will come back to that news. But if you have read newspaper, you can attempt it. Okay, I will come back to the newspaper. I will show the news. Okay, this is not there. Today's newspaper, that news is there, sorry. Prime Minister was talking here in Man Ki Baat, this month's Man Ki Baat, and there he mentioned this. Look at this. Bio Village 2. Okay, so he mentioned that some villages of Tripura have ascended to the level of Bio Village 2. Bio Village 2 emphasizes how to minimize the damage caused by natural disasters. Basically, Bio Village is initiative of Tripura government, where there is emphasis on sustainable living style, lifestyle. Okay, and minimum dependence on the fossil fuels and all these things. Bio Village 2 is more aggressive, shifting towards, we can say, creating resilience towards natural disasters, emphasis. Okay, normally Bio Village emphasis on renewable energy and all, but Bio Village 2 more emphasis on minimizing damage caused by natural disasters. Okay? So A is the answer here. Now consider the following statements. What should be answer? Yes, online students, comment in the comment box your answers. Yes, so it is being built in Himachal Pradesh across Satluj River. Incorrect. It is built in Jammu Kashmir across Chenab River. This Ratle Dam. Then it is a runoff river project. This is true. So 2 only is the correct answer. Fine. What should be answer here? Simple. But yes, we should know specifically. Hindu front page news.
They have the chance to ask properties.
Yes, they will ask properties, or they can ask about the new developments, varieties, genetically modified varieties. ठीक है, तो Kalanamak is paddy or rice traditional variety of which region? You should remember, Tarai region. It is having unique fragrance. It is having GI tag. ये सारी information याद रखनी है. Fine? Yes. Any question? Okay then, let us stop. Fine. Thank you.